What is up, you guys? How you doing, Percussion? So we are going to be going over number 187, La Bamba, and we're going to be talking about what your snare and bass drum part is doing. Okay, and this is kind of like a bit of an introduction into how to play drum set. Okay, normally if we were in school, like at the actual building, I would have time that we would actually go over how to play simple drum set rhythms. Unfortunately, don't have the time to do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at the at 187, okay, at the snare and bass drum part, and we're going to break it down into three separate parts. The first part is going to be our right foot, because that's going to be our bass drum, okay, our right hand, which is going to be, that technically right hand and left hand are both going to be snare drum, but your right hand is just going to be doing normal hits, while your left hand is going to do a rim knock. Now, we're going to talk about what a rim knock is, okay? So you can see in the first measure that there's a note head that has an X instead of being like colored in, okay? So that's what they're going to write if they want you to do a rim knock. Now, to give you a visual representation of a rim knock, I'm going to bring down the camera so you guys can see my practice pad, okay? So for normally when we would hold a stick, we'd hold it this way. Okay, for a rim knock, we actually flip the stick around like this. Okay, and what we're going to do is you're going to want to try and get it so that the head of the drum, it's not all the way against the rim, but it's like this, and you want to actually press that, have the head of the drum, or sorry, the head of the stick actually touching the practice pad. And then your other fingers are going to form a fulcrum, just like this. Okay, and you're going to lift up that stick and actually hit the rim. Okay, notice how back here this stays put. I'm not picking the whole stick up off of the pad. Okay, I'm just using this as a point, a pressure point. I'm still touching the head of the drum, and I'm bringing down the stick like this. Okay, that's called a rim knock, and it's a little bit weird. Okay, it's used in a lot of Latin American kind of music, and also sometimes jazz will use it. A lot of slower pieces will use that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break down exactly what our body has to do. Now, I'm going to try and get this in so you guys can see. My right foot is going to be the bass drum. Okay, actually, I'll even angle it a little bit lower so you guys can really see the bass drum going. Okay. Now, whenever I'm breaking down a rhythm on drum set, you always want to do one part of the body at a time. Okay, if you try to tackle all of them at once, you're going to become overwhelmed, and you're not going to be able to grasp it as easily. Okay, so the first thing I usually start with is the bass drum. Okay, so for bass drum, the rhythm that we have, okay, is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first two measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what our right foot is going to do. So just kind of how we were tapping out, keeping a pulse, how we've been doing that for a while. That's what our right foot's going to do. We're not going to bring the whole right foot up like this because we're going to like break our bass pedal on our drum set if we do that. Okay, so it's just lifting it up, keeping the heel on the ground, bringing up the toes, okay? And we're just going to do that same rhythm that we just did. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, the next bit that I usually put in is the right hand, okay? The right hand is usually the trickiest to throw in with the bass drum, and so that's why it's easier to get these two coordinated, because then the left hand just has the easy addition there at the end of usually playing on 2 and 4. Okay, so in this case, what our right hand, the rhythm that our right hand does is 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, it's a very, very simple rhythm, but when you put it with the bass drum, that's where things get a little bit weird. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. okay? So if I put those two rhythms together, if I put what my bass drum and what my snare is doing, my regular snare, okay, I'd have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is weird. It is tricky. Okay, because what you're gonna be tempted to do is you're gonna turn either the snare drum part into matching up with the bass drum, or you're going to try and match the bass drum with what your snare drum is doing. It is the most common error that happens when you're first trying to do drum set kind of rhythms. Okay? But take it really, 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 really slow to start out so that you can really feel and hear and see, because that's one of the great things. You can literally see what your body's doing to see how those rhythms line up, but also where their differences are at. So I'm going to go really, really slow. Same thing again. Okay? 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Now the last bit is if you can do that, then adding in the rim knock is really, really straightforward. The rim knock just plays on 2 and 4 in that first measure and then 4 in the second measure. Okay? So if I took out the feet, if I just focused on the hands, okay, just focused on the hands, this is what I would have. I'd have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what my hands would be doing. Okay? Now, if I incorporate the foot, that's where things get a little bit crazy. I'm going to go back to that slow tempo to show you, okay? So, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's weird. Okay? 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? A little bit faster. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? It's a lot of these kind of rhythms is they're really tricky at first, but if you break it down at that super, super slow tempo like I just did, okay, and you just get the groove for it, and you just get used to what your hands and feet are having to do slowly, and then slowly speed it up. It's just a matter of just grooving, okay? So many of the times, like when I was doing stuff for, what was it? That blues tune that you guys, Hard Rock Blues, that one. Like the stuff I was doing on drum set, I was not having to think about, all right, my right hand does this, my left hand does this. I was just, it was a groove that I've done before, and my body is just used to doing it. And once I started, you just kind of go with it. I mean, you still have to think, obviously, but you're not having to think about every tiny detail, okay? And this is a great introduction to doing some drum set rhythms. I would highly, 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 highly encourage you guys to really try and get better at this. In 7th grade, you guys are going to have the opportunity to play in jazz band. And one of the positions for percussion is a drum set position. And right now, well, this year I had a 7th grade drum set player and an 8th grade drum set player. And the 8th grade drum set player is graduating, so there's going to be an opening. And usually I would be able to work a little bit more one-on-one, but anybody who puts in the time while this time that we're out and is able to, come back and, be able to read drum set rhythms fairly easily, just kind of like this, that really increases your chances of making jazz band. Okay? Please, please, please do this. It's a really, really good practice, and it's going to make you a well-rounded percussionist. Okay? If you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to let me know. And I hope to see you soon. Love you, miss you.